Let me explain that to you once again. See, what is happening here is we have chosen a new backdrop. Let me show you how we did that. So actually what we did was we clicked on this backdrops, uh, clicked here, deleted this backdrop, let's say. We did not have this backdrop before and we want to turn our basketball game into some other game. Let's say we want to turn it into a ping pong game. So for that, we should have a reasonable backdrop. Currently, we are having this backdrop for our basketball game, which is valid because we are using, let's say, a basketball game. So the background resembles a basketball court, so which is why, which is workable. The next thing that we want now is that make this game turn into a ping pong game. So for that, the background is going to be different. So I'm going to choose another backdrop and add it here. As we had suggested earlier, we are going to use this wall one as the backdrop. So we'll click on this one and this backdrop is going to come here. Now we need to ensure that whenever we start the game, this backdrop comes. So we are going to change it here for this backdrops code that whenever the flag is going to be clicked, we are going to turn our backdrop to wall one. So this backdrop would be here whenever we start this game. The next thing that we want is we don't want this kind of hand for the game. So let's say that we change our costume for it and select all of it first, delete it, draw a rectangle like that, and just put it somewhere in the middle, something like that. As we can see that this is kind of a very flat and very small line, so I can make it a little thicker and make it somehow a bit broader. So this would basically start looking like that. Also, one more thing that I can go to its fill color and change the way how it looks. Let's say I want to use this two shaded color. So first I'm going to change the color of the top. So which I would want to be a little maroonish. So this is the top color that I have selected and the bottom color I'm going to make it to be a little, let's say, greener. So this green color is going to be there and that now we have is our paddle. You can see that the paddle should be somewhere here so that it is clearly at a place that looks good. So this place here is currently, let's say, minus 160. So I will place my character to be at this place 0 and 160 whenever we start the game. I'm going to change its name as well and turn this name to paddle, let's say. So now from now onwards, we are going to call this character the paddle. So the paddle is here at the bottom. Now I feel that this net scratch, this net sprite is not needed. So I'm going to delete this as well. And the opponent, which is the line here, I am going to use a very different color for it as well so that it appears uniquely here. So I will first select this character and then I would change its color. Let's say we change it to black color so that it appears very nicely at the bottom and it's very distinctive. You can easily identify where it is. And it's not necessary for it to be so here. So let's say that I put it a little down. So it's just a border of it, a very thin border of it appears on your screen. And now you have your paddle, which you can move when I press the flag button. You can see the game would work obviously almost similar way. But there is one problem. The ball is not recognizing the hand anymore as we have changed its name. Also, the hand went to a different place. So the paddle, now we want this paddle to start actually at this point. So I'm going to change its position where it starts. So when the flag is clicked, this comes at the place where I want this to be. And then I go to basketball. And you can see that if it touches the paddle, it needs to turn 90 degrees, which it is not following anyhow. So let's see that what happens when it touches the paddle now. Maybe the paddle and the bottom line are too close, so that is why your ball is going to face some problems here. But I suppose that I feel that it's working perfectly fine for me. We do not need to change a lot of things here. We just want to change the things that are necessary. So this way, this game is working fine for us. But this ball, this does not look good here. We don't want this ball to look like a basketball. So maybe we can try to change its appearance as well, how this ball looks. So we are going to go to costumes and remove unnecessary things out of it. First, click the ball, click the lines on top of it. You can delete these lines as you don't need them anymore. And you can turn this ball into, let's say, a fireball. Fireball, for a fireball, you would have to use this last kind of shading. And the first one color that we need to have is, which color is more visible in a fire? So maybe that's orange color outside, and the color in the inside should be something like that. And this one also, I feel that we can make it a little brighter like that. And this inside color, maybe if it is red, it could look better. A little darkish. This one also may be a little darkish, but a lighter color suits best. So this is kind of like a fireball now. Again, its size is kind of a little big, so let's try to make it a little smaller. Don't forget to press the Alt button to resize it, scale it down a little. When you think that it is suitable, you can keep it. And now you can start playing this game. So the things are kind of working fine here. Things are kind of working absolutely fine here. The only thing that we have now is the different logics for the game. Now, as I have explained you earlier, that we need to change a few things in the code so that this game now looks more like a ping pong game in which you have to just keep the ball in the air, and you can have time for that how long have you kept the ball in the air, and lose your game instantly when you let the ball touch that black border. Now you see that when the ball touches the black border, it comes back somehow. So we don't want it to come back. We want it to just stop the game when this ball touches the line. So now what we have is, go to this ball code and tell it that if it touches the opponent, it does not need to do all these things. All it needs to do is just stop everything it is doing, stop doing anything that it is doing, and just turn to this other backdrop, which is that you can ask your character in the looks portion to switch backdrop to stars as soon as it touches the bar. See? So you do not have any chances there. Until you keep the ball afloat in the air, you are fine. As soon as you miss it, you lose the game. Now the code part is almost done. We do not need to change the score in this one. We do not need the opponent score variable in this one. So I'm going to click on this opponent score variable so that it is gone. And also I'm going to change the score variable into time variable. And the time is in seconds. So I'm going to write it here. So now we can identify that for how long, for how many seconds have we kept the ball in the air. So for that, we are not going to use this code now. Remember what this code says? This code says if touching net. If you have touched nets, because we are not using net anymore, so we may not use this code. So I'm going to delete this code from here. We actually don't need it. We now need a code to do something, and that something is whenever the flag is clicked, start counting the time. Okay. So we need a code that would start counting the time. So for that, we are going to go to this events, pick up on this when flag clicked. Whenever the flag is clicked, we are going to ask our game to always do something, and that something is keep increasing the time by using this, which says change my variable by 1, and my variable instead use time setting. Now see what happens. When I start this game, you would see that the time is running very fast, right? So this time should be actual. This time should not be random. Currently, you can see that it's randomly just increasing. If I start to play this game, the time is going to like running very fast. How can we slow it down that after every 1 second, we change the time by 1 second? So there is a very quick method to do that. You know, you have already used it. It is not here on this page, but you have already used it. You might know that about it. So there is a control block in the control section, which is called wait. So you need to tell your character to wait for 1 second and then change time by 1 second. So this is kind of something that is going to happen. After every 1 second, your time is going to increase by 1 second. And as soon as you lose this game, your everything is going to stop. You would see the time here and you would say that you lost the game, press flag and restart. So these games are kind of working fine right now. The game is perfectly working fine with these tweakings in the code. We have made some tweaks, we have made some changes in the code, and now the game is working perfectly fine, right? Now there is one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. That is there a method that we are actually disappearing everything right now. You can see that everything is disappearing. The time is being calculated perfectly. The pedal is moving fine. But we wanted to have, let's say, another method to move the paddle. Let's say that how would we move the paddle? So for that we have a code here as well, which we can use, that would make your paddle to move without pressing any keys. Wherever you would take the mouse, your paddle would move into that direction. That is forever. Change X by, actually set X to, and then go to sensing and put mouse X here. So currently what you would see is, let me show the pedal first. So currently what would happen is, if this code is running, you can move your mouse, you can move your pedal with the movement of your mouse. See? And you can't move it up and you can't move it down. You can only move it to right and left. The code is very simple. You need to tell your character that the X position of your paddle should be the X position of the mouse. So instead of using, let's say, this forever loop, which holds right key and left key, we can use this forever code here with the game. And now you will be able to see that we can make our character mouse paddle go anywhere just with a slight movement of your keypad. You can use your mouse as well for playing this game, right? So that is it from today's class. If there is anything that you guys want to ask, you can ask right now. And this game is going to be finished as soon as you let the ball touch the black line at the bottom. So that's it. If there is anything that you guys want to ask, want to see the code of some portions, you can let